Alrighty. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Well, I am super excited to get to talk with us about this topic. We are right at the time where we are transitioning back into school, and today's talk is all about how we can support your child's nervous system and really why their nervous system is so stinking important in the first place. So before I get too far in, a little bit about me. I am Dr. Lauren. I am a chiropractor at Impact Chiropractic here in Loveland, and I am so stinking passionate about working with families, connecting with families, and even supporting specifically this back to school transition and really helping throughout these school age years. So today's talk is going to be more specifically about the nervous system and how we can influence back to school health through the nervous system lens. So we're going to support resilience during the school year by learning about how our nervous system impacts the growth and development that occurs throughout that time. So I thought we would kick it off by really getting into what the nervous system is, what it does, and how we can really support this area. So the nervous system is an awesome communication highway. And why I call it a highway is because it is a two-way street. It is not just a one-way down the road where your brain is communicating to your body. We actually need your body to be able to communicate back up to your brain. And especially for kiddos, this is a rapidly developing time where they are more sensitive to stress, right? This is a time where they're learning and connecting with their body. They're connecting with their peers, connecting with their teachers. They are, learning how to read, how to write, how to draw, how to retain information. Like that is just the things that I could think of off the top of my head right here. So during this time, they are forming millions, billions, trillions of neural connections every single day. And this is the time where we are setting a foundation for their health, moving on throughout the rest of their life too. We always say healthy kids grow up to be healthy adults. And this is why this transition time is so stinking important, because the foundation and the layers that we create now are all things that are going to impact how they're able to grow and develop for their life as well too. So when I think about school stress on the nervous system, there's really three main ways that I think about stress impacting the body. So we have our physical stressors. So that's how large are these backpacks. They are getting out of control, how much we have to carry, especially these kiddos. So how long do they have to wear that backpack, and how heavy is it when they are wearing it? How long are they sitting there in their chair? How long are they doing that? Are they looking down a lot? Are there iPads that are being involved? Blue light? Like what are the physical stressors that they are required to be able to do day in and day out? Now, I'm also looking at mental and emotional stressors. So that's the second thing. New routines bring on tons of new mental and emotional challenges at times for kiddos. So we see that they have to get up at a different time. They need to be able to have their brain turned on for a long period of time. They're learning. They have to retain information. Pretty soon after school starts, we start getting into tests and seeing how they're retaining things too. So all of that can be a mental and emotional stressor and a challenge for a growing and developing mind. And then the third thing that I'm looking at is our toxic load, or maybe more of those chemical stressors. So in Colorado right now, a great one, unfortunately, is the amount of wildfires that we're having. All of this wildfire smoke is something that we are breathing in if kiddos are having outside recess. So all of these things come together, and these create the stress load that your child needs to be able to handle throughout the school year. And what holds that stress is their nervous system, because their nervous system is ultimately what is telling their body what to do, where it is in space, what they need to do next, how to prepare for the next situation. Our nervous system communicates with every single aspect of our body. So you bet that these stressors are going to get ingrained within their nervous system. So that brings me into our next point of how do we know where our child is at, and how do I know if their nervous system has stress? So our nervous system has two different branches to simplify things. And I think this picture here on the left is a great example of what is happening in those two nervous systems. So we have the more chaotic side on the left, the more calm side on the right. In a perfect world, we need to be able to toggle between these two when needed. The chaotic side, where we have that, like the waves crashing into the sides, that is what we call our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight system. This is our system that we need turned on if we're going to run from a tiger or something where we're like, we need to protect ourselves. Now, this calm side, this is what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. This is our rest, our digest, our ability to say, I am safe here in this moment. Let my body just do what it needs to do. So what happens with kiddos when we start to see stress impacting their nervous system is we see that we get stuck in more of this overwhelm, this chaos side. This is that fight or flight side. So what I tend to see here, and this may shock you, is that kiddos will have a hard time focusing at school. Maybe they get called like class clown, or they just always want to talk to somebody. Maybe we're having mood swings where they wake up in the morning and they're totally fine, and then one thing happens and it throws them off, right? Then we have growing pains. This is a common one that I see, but just because it's common does not mean that it is normal. So growing pains are not normal. Trouble sleeping, getting sick more often. Your immune system is connected to your nervous system. And if your nervous system is in fight or flight and it's focusing on something else, then your immune system isn't going to be able to operate to its full potential. So this is why I see if kids are getting sick more often, that should be a cue that their nervous system is under more stress. So now that we know a little bit about what this stress mode looks like and what that talks like, I want to talk a little bit about how chiropractic supports that brain to body connection and the stress that's on their developing nervous system. So our amazing spine is actually built to protect our nervous system. So that's why with kiddos, you know, we are still looking at misalignments and tension that's in their spine. Now, kiddos, I want to go back one slide really quick. Sometimes parents will say, you know, why should I bring my kiddo to you? They don't have any pain. Why would I do that? Growing pains are like kiddos do not send signals through pain. The first sign is usually a sort of function that's not working the same way that it was before. So that's why out of all of the signs that we have here, from our top 5, only one of them has to do with pain, right? Kiddos are showing us through their ability to focus, through their emotional behaviors, through their sleep patterns, through their digestive system, whether or not they're under stress. And because we have all of those nerves that come out of our brain, through our spinal cord, and then out to every single organ, tissue, every muscle in their body, that is how chiropractic helps support that brain to body connection. Because if their body isn't if their brain isn't communicating to their body, or their body isn't communicating back up into their brain, that is the first sign that there is stress on the nervous system, and they should be checked by a chiropractor. That is what we specialize in. That is what we work on. Ooh, this slide got funky. Okay, so what I want to do now is really talk about a big special that we have going on in our office, because we want to help support you and your kiddos as they are transitioning back into school. So our office, we do a 2-day appointment because we want to be able to take in all that information on day 1 and then have time to digest it ourselves and figure out how we can support your child. So that first day would be all about our intake and the history. So that's where we're asking about physical stressors. Are they playing a lot of sports? Are they sleeping in funky positions? How much time do they spend sitting when they're at school? We're looking at mental and emotional stressors. Are they liking their teacher? Do they feel supported by their friends? Do they have an awesome support system and community too? Those are those mental and emotionals. Are they anxious about school? Things like that. Then we're also going to ask about that toxic load. You know, do they spend a lot of time outside when there's a bunch of smoke? Like, are they having to take any medications right now too? Those are going to be the day that we take in and we figure out, okay, what stress load is your child under? Then we're also going to do nervous system scans or x-rays, depending on how old your kiddo is. So with these nervous system scans are really going to show us where the stress is living on their spine and how we can best support them in those areas too. So that is all day 1, jam-packed with just taking in information and figuring out what we need to do with it from there. Day 2, you're going to come back and we're going to go through everything, right? We're going to sit there and we're going to tell you what those scans mean, what we're finding, and really what subluxations, what misalignments are impacting your child. Then we're also going to go into our recommendations, because we want you to know that we have a plan and that this is not how your kiddo is going to stay. right? We have something that's called neuroplasticity within our body, within our brain, because that tells us that our body is always adapting. And just because we have signals that our body is sending us doesn't mean that we can't help support that area and get to the root cause of why that symptom is actually there. Okay. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who came and listened to this call and was just jazzed to sit here and talk about chiropractic and the nervous system. If you mentioned that you were able to attend this webinar, or you saw this webinar after the fact, we do have a discounted new patient appointment for you to just mention the webinar that Dr. Lauren put on, the back to school health. And we can really get your kiddo checked out, right? Everything that we do, we want to make sure that you feel educated and that you feel empowered by what is happening. So this is a great chance to be able to say, this is where my kiddo is at. This is the stress that they are under, and this is how chiropractic can help them. So I hope everybody has an awesome day. I hope you enjoyed your lunch break, and we will see you on the flip side. And I hope to see a lot of you in the office. So thank you.